Varon 6 was a planet born in fire, a battlefield long before humanity ever dreamed of reaching for the stars. For eons, this world was a place of legend, a nightmare whispered among the species of the galaxy. Its deserts were not made of sand, but of perpetually shifting, superheated grit. The storms that swept across its surface were not wind and rain, but furious tempests of burning plasma, hot enough to melt starship-grade alloys and turn solid rock into rivers of molten glass. No sane species would dare set foot on Varon 6. Those who tried, for scientific curiosity or strategic positioning, came equipped with full environmental armor, heavy escorts, and the most advanced technology their civilizations could muster. Even then, survival was never guaranteed. The planet was a killer, and it did not discriminate. It was a place where only the gods of fire could dance. Then, one day, a human walked in. Alone. His name was Rex. Calder. He wasn't a scientist or an explorer backed by a billion-credit corporation. He was a disaster response soldier from Earth, a planet the galaxy had come to know by another name. A Deathworld. Humans were Deathworlders, a species forged in an environment so punishing, so relentlessly hostile, that it bred survivors of unparalleled resilience. Rex was trained to operate in the worst environments the galaxy had ever seen, places that would make Varon 6 look like a pleasant summer retreat. His mission was simple, yet seemingly impossible. To save a stranded xeno-research team, their vessel had crashed deep inside a region ominously named the Firestorm Valley, a place where the plasma storms converged into a perpetual, world-ending vortex of energy. Every other species had deemed a rescue mission a suicide run. Their ships couldn't get close. Their drones were vaporized within minutes. Sending in personnel was a death sentence. So they sent in a human. The entire galaxy was watching. Live feeds were broadcast to command centers, public squares, and private terminals across a dozen star systems. Every alien watching held their breath, a mix of morbid curiosity and pity. They expected him to die in minutes. Another cautionary tale to add to the legend of Varon 6. He didn't. The moment Rex Calder's boots touched the burning soil, the plasma storm reacted as if it were a living creature. It roared. A sound that wasn't just heard but felt, a pressure wave that rattled the cameras on the orbiting ships. White-hot lightning, thicker than a star freighter, cut the sky open, illuminating the hellscape. The heat radiating from the ground should have cooked him alive inside his suit, even with its advanced heat shielding. The atmospheric pressure alone was enough to crush most life forms. But Rex just kept walking. With every step, the superheated sand beneath his feet rippled like red waves on a sea of fire. His heat shield, a state-of-the-art piece of human engineering, flickered erratically, struggling against the unimaginable energy. A crack splintered across his visor, the thermal shock threatening to compromise his entire suit. The storm seemed to notice his defiance. It pushed harder, a physical wall of plasma slamming into him, tearing apart the small fleet of observation drones that were trying to follow him. One by one, their signals blinked out, consumed by the inferno. Rex didn't slow down. He just leaned into the fiery wind and pushed forward, a solitary figure against the apocalypse. He had a job to do. Suddenly, the ground before him split open. The sand erupted, not with fire, but with something far worse. A Storm Leviathan. It was a native creature of Varon 6, a massive predator made of molten scales and living, breathing fire. It was a legend, even on this world of nightmares, a being that swam through plasma as if it were water. It rose from the depths, its roar so loud that the entire valley shook, causing rock slides on the distant, glass-faced cliffs. In the alien command center orbiting the planet, officers screamed. On the comms, the trapped research team's panicked cries echoed. Every single being watching the broadcast thought it was over. This wasn't just a storm, it was the planet's apex predator. No weapon, no armor could stand against it. Rex just looked up at the colossal, burning monster, a creature that blotted out the already dark sky. He tilted his head, and his voice came through the comms, a low, gravelly mutter that was almost lost in the storm's howl. "I don't have time for this." The Leviathan struck. Its flaming tail, the size of a comet, swung down with enough force to shatter a mountain. Rex moved with a speed that seemed impossible. He dove, rolled under the devastating arc, and came up with a survival spear in his hand. As the beast's underbelly was exposed for a split second, he slammed the spear into it. The spear's internal shock coil ignited, unleashing a focused, concussive blast that ripped through the monster ace molten armor. Fire and energy exploded everywhere. The beast let out a shriek that was part pain and part fury, a sound that tore at the very fabric of the air. Acid recoiled Rex. Din retreak. Advance. He climbed up its thrashing, burning back, his own suit smoking, his flesh searing, but his will unbroken. He reached its core, a pulsing nexus of bioplasma, and drove the spear straight into it. The Leviathan convulsed, and then collapsed, its body dissolving into a dying river of glowing lava that was slowly reclaimed by the burning sands. The plasma storm howled in what sounded like pure, unadulterated rage, as if its champion had been slain. Rex stood over the remains of the monster, looked up at the raging sky, and seemed to growl back. He reached the wreckage of the research vessel, a twisted heap of metal half buried in glass. Without hesitation, he began tearing the collapsed hull apart with his bare, scorched hands. The metal was still glowing hot, but he didn't seem to notice. One by one, he lifted each of the 3 survivors out of the tomb they had been trapped in. They were weak, terrified, but alive. When Rex Calder finally walked out of the heart of the Firestorm Valley, the entire galaxy went silent. He was carrying all 3 aliens on his shoulders. What was left of his armor was gone. His suit was half melted, fused to his skin in places. His face, visible through the shattered visor, was burned and blistered. But his eyes were burning with a fire brighter and hotter than any storm, a fire of pure, unyielding determination. He set the survivors down gently at the designated extraction point. A holographic reporter, broadcasting from a safe distance, materialized before him. Her voice trembled. Human. How did you survive that? Rex spat a mouthful of dust and ash onto the ground. He looked at the reporter, his gaze unwavering. I didn't come to survive, he said, his voice raspy but clear. I came to save. And on that day, the galaxy learned a vital, terrifying, and awe-inspiring lesson all over again. You don't send humans into the firestorm expecting them to survive it. You send them because they will walk right through it, tame it, and walk out the other side. Humans don't fear the fire. They are the fire. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you and miss our next deep dive into the epic lore of humanity's place among the stars. We'll see you next time.